that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Muhammadu Buhari sworn in as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. President Buhari gives a hint of his intention to run an inclusive administration devoid of favoritism. A change in strategy. The command center of the military relocates to Maiduguri as President Buhari maps out plans to fight terror. And new governors take oaths of office across the nation. We begin tonight in Abuja, Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, where Mr. Muhammadu Buhari has been sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This historic event at the Eagle Square in Abuja effectively puts paid to fears by skeptics of the ability of the entity known as Nigeria to successfully transit from the last democratic dispensation to a new one. Today's event began early today with the last-minute attention to details of an event that conformed largely to protocol.
The sense of urgency at the Eagle Square is palpable. The eyes of the world are on Nigeria, and as such, laxity or tardiness is not about to be tolerated. Former Nigerian heads of state lead by example. There's to be no African time. All those invited here know that time is of the essence as they begin to arrive at the Eagle Square, venue of this historic occasion. The arrival of the former Vice President Nnamdi Sambo shows that the event is about to begin. Shortly afterwards, Professor Yemi Osinbajo comes in. Right on cue, Mr. Muhammadu Buhari arrives.
The official swearing-in ceremony.
The arrival of former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan sets the ball rolling. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mahmoud Mohammed, assisted by the Chief Registrar, Ahmed Saleh, are in charge of the ceremony. First to be sworn in is Professor Osinbajo. Mr. Buhari mounts the podium joined by Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, and at exactly 10:46 a.m., Muhammadu Buhari is sworn in as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
I, Muhammadu Buhari.
The inspection of parade effectively wraps up the ceremony as guests depart.
Now, while the formalities of the swearing-in held everyone spellbound, Nigerians and indeed the international community waited with bated breath for the president's inaugural speech. President Buhari did not disappoint as he briefly but crisply gave a hint of what Nigerians should expect from him. "I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody" summarizes what the president's thoughts are as to issues of accommodating all tribes, religions, as well as views and his opposition to nepotism, favoritism, and what has crept into the nation's lexicon, cabals. President Buhari also shares his thoughts on terror, power, the economy, as well as governance generally. Our correspondent Temitokwe Fagbemi reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari came into power promising change, but in his inaugural speech, he says the change actually began with his predecessor, Goodluck Jonathan.
I would like to thank President Goodluck Jonathan for his display of statesmanship in setting a precedent for us that has now made our people proud to be Nigerians wherever they are. With the support and cooperation he has given to the transition process, he has made it possible for us to show the world that despite the perceived tension in the land, we can be a united people, capable of doing what is right for our nation. Together, we cooperated to surprise the world that had come to expect only the worst from Nigeria. I hope this act of graciously accepting defeat by the outgoing president will become the standard of political conduct in our country.
And of course, the voters.
I would like to thank the millions of supporters who believed in us even when the cause seemed hopeless. I salute their resolve in waiting long hours in rain and hot sunshine to register and cast their votes and stay all night, if necessary, to protect and ensure their votes count and were counted. I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
One topical issue bothering the minds of every Nigerian is the Boko Haram insurgency, and President Buhari is not afraid to confront the issue.
Progress has been made in recent weeks by our security forces, but victory cannot be achieved by basing the command and control center in Abuja. The command center will be relocated to Maiduguri and remain until Boko Haram is completely subdued. Boko Haram is a mindless, godless group who are as far away from Islam as one can think of. At the end of the hostilities, when the group is subdued, the government intends to commission a sociological study to determine its origins, remote and immediate causes of the movement. It sponsors the international connections to ensure that measures are taken to prevent a recurrence of this evil. Here, I would like to thank the governments and people of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger for committing their armed forces to fight Boko Haram in Nigeria.
There is also the issue of the economy, and the president says his government will tackle youth unemployment through the encouragement of agricultural entrepreneurship, solid mineral mining, and provision of credit facilities to SMEs.
No single cause can be identified to explain Nigeria's poor economic performance over the years than the power situation. It is a national shame that an economy of 180 million generates only 4,000 megawatts and distributes even less. Continues tinkering with the structures of power supply and distribution, and close to United States $20 billion expended since 1999 have only brought darkness, frustration, misery, and resignation among Nigerians. We will not allow this to go on. Careful studies are underway during this transition to identify the quickest, safest, and most effective way to bring light and relief to Nigerians. Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem frontally through revival of agriculture, solid minerals mining, as well as credits to small and medium-sized businesses to kickstart these enterprises. We shall quickly examine the best way to revive major industries and accelerate the revival and development of our railways, roads, and general infrastructure.
There is no doubt that President Muhammadu Buhari's inauguration brings a lot of hope and optimism to the country. And going by his inaugural speech, there are better times ahead for Nigerians.
Remove headdress!
Temitope Fagbemi, reporting for Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, a floodgate of reactions trailed the inauguration of President Muhammadu Buhari. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.